Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane, joined today with Michelle Wolfe. How are you doing today, Michelle?
Late. I'm late. How are you, Shane?
Fashionably late,
I
right?
am so sorry, guys. And then I was sitting here like a mad woman, just like pressing buttons, crossing it over chat. I'm here. And I was so mellow, man. If you had seen me before this, maybe that's what it is, Shane. It's a test. Because the last few days, I'm like, guys, my usual wah has been. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, I know I have all this stuff to share with you and this new energy and everything. And what happens? 3D.
Gotta
So,
love it. Keeps us on our
yeah,
toes. Thank you,
it
Scott, for getting
does.
the show going
I
there.
know Scott saved the day. He calls me. He's like, there's people waiting for you. Me? Little old me? So
Oh,
I'm so sorry, guys. But anyways, I'm here now. So we better catch
we
up a
enjoyed
little
the
bit.
suspense. It was like
What
all
is
the
she gonna
suspense. Like, what is
say?
she gonna say? What
What
kind of
is she gonna
update?
say? Babies, I have been rocked. I have been rocked with energy. And amazing physical experiences have been going on for me, that have just been incredible. And really, like I thought with the hypnosis session, with Michael Garber. And I know I probably didn't give you guys all the information you wanted, but there's just so much of it that I was still trying to process. It was like, where do I even start? But hopefully I can give you a little bit more details on that today. And let me know how much time we have, Shane, because there's a
Oh, let's
lot of
just roll.
information.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
cool.
let's roll
Okay,
with it.
cool.
That's
I
cool.
didn't want to keep you from everything if you end up having travel today. You mentioned earlier, but all
Definitely
good.
not traveling today, so we're good.
And hi, I miss you. It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see
I didn't
you.
get a chance to do that. Okay, so with the hypnosis session, and again, I'm glad you listened to that, Shane. So if there's things that you want to pop in there that I'm skipping over so people can understand better, please do. But in this session, I did really feel like I was really activated, and made room for. There's been a real process going on since this activation I got in the hypnosis session. And we did talk about some things that had just started to happen, which was my walk in the trees, and feeling the zap and feeling the energy of the trees. And so it has been a continuation of these activations and sensations coming in and more and filling in the spaces. I think I was right about that, of how I kind of woke up the next day, and it was like, what did anything actually really happen? And then, but I kept getting these little things. So that definitely has progressed now to, there is a constant level to my physical sensations all the time now. Just like the ringing in the ears has been a absolute constant thing in both ears for me for quite a while. So I see these sensations as well are just becoming a permanent thing. And then now with that permanence, it's kind of doing the same thing, with the little jumps and leaps and such here, that so what I'm finding is that my body is physically very much so giving me signals and to my to what I'm thinking about, talking about, like with if I'm in thought process, what is going on right now, or I'm discussing that with somebody. And when I'm on the right track, my body very physically now lets me know. So it's my friend Jen's here running around trying to take care of everything and the dogs. So if you see her pop in sometimes, don't be surprised. Sorry. So what I'm finding now is a very definitive physical response. We had talked last time about when you'd walk into a room, and you get that sensation like there was an argument there before. And so there's really an acceleration to all of these things. And what I think the main thing that I wanted to say to you, Shane, and after listening to your interview, which is great, with Dan on K2D4 network, and your Akashic records reading. So fantastic. So many synchronicities there. And you really helped me actually put together a lot of this process and information of what I see is really going on, I think, for everybody now, which we are literally seeing what we have been asking for, which is physical, real evidence manifestation of what is going on for us right now. With the number synchronicities and the Mandela effects increasing, or, it was a great conversation with Dan about that. And then, this Laurel Yanny thing going on. And I really kind of put some ideas together on that. And what I'm seeing is we are seeing these are all physical manifestations of this change of vibration, right? The Yanny, Laurel, the fact that some people will see a Mandela effect one way, or, I thought it was great, the picture of the girls with the sits by the statue with their, are they like this or like this? Well, I took art history. I'll tell you, it was like this. It was not like this. Absolutely 100%. And no, Mona Lisa did not have a smile curling up on both of her cheeks. Absolutely not.
Yeah, her
Okay?
eyes are even smiling
No,
now.
it's
So
not
the debate is
same.
over whether she's smiling or
That
not.
is not, that is like a cartoon character of the original Mona Lisa. It doesn't even have the same resonance or feeling to it whatsoever. And so all of these little things, I did write some notes because they were different representations. How you mentioned that Houston, we have a problem, flip-flopping.
Yeah. So
So,
Houston,
okay,
we've
so,
had a problem and then
or we've
back
had,
again.
but then you go back and you hear it again a different way. And, how people can remember things differently. Well, now we see it's a great, and the blue or gold on the dress. And it was so silly at the time. We didn't really understand, I think, what was going on there. But it's really kind of like, it really is one of those Mandela effect sort of things. These are all kind of the same thing. Bam, my hand goes zap. So I really know now, guys, every time I'm on the right track, I get that jolt all the time now. That was the between electric shock and hitting the funny bone, goes crank right up my hand. So so it's pretty direct these days. Yes, that's the right answer. So but it was the dress and
The tennis shoe.
sorry, what's that?
And the tennis shoe. Have you seen that one? I guess I shouldn't have brought that one up. There's a tennis shoe that looks like it's either blue and white or pink and
Right.
gray. Did you
So
see
it's,
that? Yeah.
but it's okay. So it's colors, right?
Yeah.
Which we've talked about before. Well, I keep saying there's not enough colors. And we've discussed how, well, we only see this spectrum, right? We see this spectrum of the colors. We hear at this spectrum of the colors. Well, why do dogs hear at a different perspective, right? Why do they see or hear more maybe sometimes than we do? Well, is it now, I question, is it not just because they are a different animal? Is it actually the vibration that they're attuned to what they're picking up? And so with the Yanny Laurel experience, well, I didn't.
Or
That
Yeri, like someone said. That's what I hear is Yeri.
yeah, I did hear horrible at one time too. So, and Scott let me know about it. I was like, "What are you talking about? What what are you talking about?" And he's telling me what I'm like, I don't know what you're talking. So I go and listen to it, and he tells me his theory that he thinks that it's due to vibration, and that when at a higher vibration you hear Yanny. So I put this to the test, guys. So when I listen to it with Scott, well, then he tells me this. I'm like, well, I don't want to hear Laurel. Anyways, just thinking that you're going to hear Laurel. Okay, so, and not that it's that much of a difference. This is just a thought process, and I think we can instantly flip flop. I think it's just this is another sign, red light, green light, to what is going on, and it's very similar with all these other things. So when I listened to it for the first time, I heard Yanny, and it was just the 32-second clip, the original one. So I was trying to, as Scott suggested, keep to the original format that it was presented, because I said, well, I'm curious as well if it is transfer if I were to leave my head to
Whoops,
him.
you kind of went underwater.
Oh,
I lost you a little bit.
because I
The audio
use
kind of
my
cut out.
hands. I touched my mic. That's why my hands are flying everywhere. I'm supposed to fly.
And let me, while the connection's
Sorry.
getting better with you, let me chime in that I did do a video about this, and in that video, it plays a clip of it sped up a little bit and slowed down, and it makes it easy to hear whatever version of it you're not hearing. And I think this is a good explanation of why some people, after a change happens, they don't hear the change, because I think their brain fills it in. You know, when it's like the lyrics of a song or something, like a lot of people weren't hearing the change, began to pray, changing to pretend to pray. And I think your brain just keeps hearing it the way it knows it is a lot
Absolutely.
of
You can
times.
trick your
Yeah,
brain. Yeah, because that's, I mean, we set those molds, right? Like we've discussed before, well, your perception is a really tricky thing because subconsciously your brain has its own filter system that you're not even aware of. So it's select, so you can literally not see something that it has previously considered not relevant for you to see.
right.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I agree with that. But what I did try, so what I was curious about this was, so the next day I had a girlfriend come over, and I'm telling her about this video. She hadn't heard of it either. She's like, whatever, that can't be, that's ridiculous. That can't be true. So I'm like, well, let's play it. So in listening with her, I heard Laurel. Exact same, same phone, same video. I went to the history, I replayed it, and I heard Laurel. So I said, I'm gonna think about this. So I said, I bet you, like after you go, I'm gonna sit for 15 minutes and I'm gonna meditate and I'm gonna think about love and just clear my mind and listen to it again. And when I did that, same video, I clearly did hear Yanni. So I wanted to put that out there because when I heard you talking about these different things over the last few days, and with the process that I've been going through personally as well, I have seen these synchronicities and my hand keeps going, yes, yes, yes. So I wanted to share because I just think all these things are really tying together. And what it really means is actually, or, with our senses, the, um, the effects of what's going on and vibration.
Sorry, the connection got
It's
bad a
exciting.
little bit again.
Oh,
Okay.
right. So you probably only heard about half of that.
Just like the last sentence. So yeah, you said something about the synchronicities.
Oh no.
No?
Something about the what I believe is that, the synchronicities, they are getting closer together,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm just seeing, like, as this time speeds up, these synchronicities seem to be happening quicker, 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 and these things are overlaying, and I'm seeing it continue to sort of propel and quicken until we're almost in this now state of constant synchronicity. Was
Oh my
a
gosh,
thought I
you
had
just
about that.
reminded me of something. I got to chime in with this because I totally
Good,
forgot.
thank you. Perfect
Half
timing.
asleep. I was half asleep. I remember waking up in the middle of the night and looking over at the clock and 4:44, and I'm like,
Oh,
it woke me up a little bit, but not enough that it's been on my mind all day. You just saying that just made me realize that I had that moment of feeling like this is a simulation or something just strange about.
it's constant.
Yeah.
And it is quickening together. So, and I think that a lot of you guys out there may agree. Please, chime in on the chat so Shane can give me any feedback on your thoughts on these ideas. I'm really open to that, guys. They're just things that
As we're
I've been
44
picking up.
past the hour right now.
40. Listen, it's constant. I left a message on the video for you did with Dan,
Yeah.
because I literally noticed that it was exactly at 11 minutes and 44 seconds as I am watching it that he begins to discuss my meditation session with you.
Oh, wow.
At 11:44 is exactly when he starts to talk about the meditation, his garage door opening.
Yeah, and that was exactly a week ago that we actually recorded that right after our session. Me and you had our
That's
show last
right.
week, so it
Mm-hmm.
aired Sunday, but we actually recorded it right after that. So
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. But these things are everywhere. Every time I look at the clock, it's all over. All I have to do is listen to a conversation that I find, or thought process that I
yeah,
find is, on an enlightened track, and I get the confirmation. All I have to do is turn in and look at a clock to see that my thought process at that time is on the right track. Oh, it's 11:44. Okay, I thought so. Yeah, great. Thank you.
all right. Oops. Sorry, we have earthquakes.
Real, yeah.
Continue.
Surprise.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah, lots of them. Yeah, things are going to really start shaking up now, guys. But you know what? Don't anybody. It's just part of the process. It's
yeah,
part of
it
that
is. No
cracking
fear.
that we all know. This is what we've been doing. This guy, this is why we know what we know, and what we've been practicing for, and practicing in our dreams for, and coming out of the closet with, to all get together and do this work together that we're here to do. So yeah, so it's all going to be good. The energy of Pentecost was amazing. Was absolutely amazing. I had I did have another activation. I realized that sorry, if you don't mind, I will go if it's okay, if I have your permission to go back to the hypnosis session and what I've put together since then
Permission
is,
granted.
thank you, is my my conversation with Jesus, where so when he came to me, because I thought of a lot more about it with the questions that other people have asked too, and I've had chances to re-listen to it a few times, which Michael encourages you to do, and I can see why. To see that, uh, so when he approached, I had sort of a vision of it. It was definitely more sensation. I was definitely more aware of it being Jesus because of the intensity of the vibration that accelerated immediately upon seeing him approaching. And then as I came to him, as he did speak to me, I was not looking at his face. I was really just actually looking down like this. So I did not see him speaking to me. What I did see and did the gesture in the hypnosis was and it was exactly here, guys, because when I read you it, I know this is a little weird, but it's a very particular spot, and it happens to be right exactly where my rose quartz sits. It makes me woozy just doing it. So this spot right here, and when I was in the hypnosis session, he went, and I'm looking down, saying, I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm right here. So what I put together is that's he had said 3 words to me 3 times. This was the actual activation, because then I said, if you remember, Shane, I said, and he's giving me a gift. So what I'm sort of viewing in the process in under the hypnosis is sort of like a large diamond crystal shining, sort of. But then I lose all visualization after that, because energy is so intense at this point, and I really start to lose. Even I have to always go back and listen. I'm lost from there. I can't recall as clearly. So what I've come to learn, that he was telling me more than just that. He was telling me more than just Jesus. Like, we hear it, but I really got it. There was an activation. So what I'm feeling in this is my interpretation and my experience, please, you guys, that I'm just sharing with you. So, and your truth is your truth, and I always want you to respect that and your own belief systems, okay? But for me, that what I did feel was that this is literally, there's your heart chakra, and then your throat chakra right here. So just above this, there, I believe, is another chakra in a sense. I believe that there was an area within me that was activated. So when you look at the system, and sort of, if you're in meditation and you're feeling the pillar and you are processing your chakras and getting used to those energy centers, and if you have had practice with this this may be easier for you to relate to what I'm saying. So if you were to feel or picture the sort of beam of energy that goes directly down through your system, down the spine directly, and you feel that energy. And we've been feeling a lot of the chest pressure. A lot of people talking about that, feeling pressure on the chest, really feeling like that is going on. There's been a lot of talk about the heart chakra opening, which is absolutely true. There was a real, much more fuller opening of that chakra coming in. But I think with the energy really starting to begin from the 18th, but very much accelerated on the 20th, now up until the 24th. I think this is really going to be big, guys. I really believe that. Is really this Christ consciousness. This is what we have been making space for. The groundwork, the foundation, those things, those tent pegs that we've been setting up and clearing all this old stuff away is to erect this first floor. And so there's also the correlation. So I've talked about the correlation between the term of pregnancy and the seed planting and growing and harvesting seasons. And also our building and sort of construction cycles as well too kind of falls in line with this. They start digging up in the spring and digging up all the old stuff, maybe taking out old pipes and lines and wiring, all that old stuff that used to be there, because then they have to put in a whole new foundation for a new building that you're going to erect. So I've been getting this visual as well now too that follows it in line. So the foundation is laid, and then boom, the first floor. And this first floor tends to be typically a grander main entrance, right? It's usually maybe a couple levels. And what I saw was really just this fantastic, celebration yellow kind of light, like the sun used to be, just shining out these glass windows. So really seeing that the foundation is laid, but we've laid that with the energy coming in March, was about that, getting all that stuff out, laying the foundation. And then now we're literally putting in that first level, and that first level is based on Christ consciousness. And so how I visually saw this experience, and with this activation within my meditation, is it being this great sphere of a blue electric light, and really actually just connecting that now, a lot like the spheres that you see. Oh yes, that's it. Thank you. The spheres with the sphere being alliance, right?
Yeah, I'm all over the blue apples, I think
The
they call
blue spheres, and we talk
Yeah.
about, so it's a big, just beautiful, electrified blue sphere that I felt that was really there. It was by the assistance of Archangel Michael. So I would encourage asking, if you do ask for angelic help, I would encourage asking for this help, specifically with the Archangel Michael, I felt, and the Archangel Metatron from above, connected to galactic source, actually being the one to bring in and funnel that energy down to you. This is part of being the conduits. This is part of that system and this network that we've seen plugged in, that we've seen the webs of all the dots. We all get these very similar visuals, and we're all getting very much the same story. Our own individual experience is always going to be our own individual experience, but we are also collectively becoming more collective, and seeing, and these things are all going to be tighter. Our selves who have been prepared to do this and do this job, which I'm sure everybody listening to this right now is, and we are also equally unique and important in this role. Don't doubt that for a second. And we're all plugged in, and we've all been receiving these foundations and this groundwork, and getting all this old mud and crap out of there to lay this first floor. And it's really exciting, and it's really big. So I encourage you to use those visualizations if they are something that works for you. I also went with the visualization of Pentecost, and And up until recently, I didn't know a lot about Pentecost. You would certainly know way more than me. You know, my background growing up with religion, anything I really learned was self-taught because it wasn't followed. So I didn't know exactly what Pentecost was. But I
I
did
was
find,
actually raised Pentecostal. So
okay,
it's fun.
so is it true that it is one of the biggest days for baptisms?
Well, it was the day when, after Jesus left
Mm-hmm.
and he ascended, he said, I'm going to send the Comforter, the Helper, or whatever. So if you want
Mm-hmm.
to read about it in Acts, it's like they were explaining these tongues of fire and people speaking in tongues, and
Mm.
they thought they were crazy and drunk because they were all speaking in tongues and overcome
Whoa.
by the Spirit, by
Mm-hmm.
the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit.
Yes.
So that's what
They
like
were
the
channeling.
exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
angelic language, though, you hear a lot of
Yes.
people. Yeah,
Just what so
so
many of us do.
exactly.
But do a lot of people typically do baptisms on Pentecost?
I don't know.
That's what I
Maybe
heard. So I was curious
somebody
about
can
that.
chime in
If
the
anybody knows or anybody's sort of thoughts on Pentecost, I'm curious.
I just
So
know that
because
we did baptize, but we pretty much just spoke in tongues a lot. That's what our church was all about. The Spirit would overcome the church, and then they'd
okay.
start the music with the bass, doom, 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 and everybody be chanting and jumping around, and it
Oh,
was
that's my kind of
Holy Roller
party.
Church. Yeah,
Oh,
it was the Holy Roller Church.
oh,
It was
really? I
yeah, it was a
love that.
blast. You could feel the energy, and
Oh, that I started getting that visual, just or the song and everything. You know
yeah.
what? Okay, I want to pipe this in because I picked it up a couple places, and I want to know if this song is popping in to anybody else's head because we've been getting this now. We're seeing it. The songs just pop in, and this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, that has been just popping in my head
Me too.
out of nowhere the
And I
last
love
few
that. It was like
days.
one of my favorite
It's like
childhood songs at Sunday
so,
school. And it's like
yeah.
hiding under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it
I don't
shine.
even
It
know
was
the
like,
words. You do.
yes,
I didn't.
that was my
Like,
favorite part.
this is not a song that I would imagine to just pop into my
I
head.
totally forgot about that song, and
Like, I don't even know all the
recently
words.
it's
Yeah.
been coming back to me. It pop and
Awesome.
another one that keeps popping in my head. Ever since I started this channel and the whole unbiased on the fence thing, is
Yep.
that we won't get fooled again. So I heard that
Yes.
song come on by the Who, and now it's we don't get fooled again. It's still named We Won't Get Fooled Again, but they never say
Mm.
we won't get fooled again. It's all, and I don't know if it's a Mandela effect or if I just was always singing the title and confused.
See, I think it's a lot like that
Yeah,
Yanny Laurel thing.
right. Yeah, they never say won't though. You can
Well,
hear
yeah. I
the,
mean,
yeah,
it's certainly a lot of ties in, but
it's crazy.
so here's another one. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Yeah, Phil
Oh
Collins.
Lord. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I can feel it coming. So if you guys have had that, it's like, oh, I can feel it
There's a
coming.
new one too, by The Weeknd. That's I feel it coming.
Yes, I
I
feel it
feel,
coming,
and I
baby.
notice that all
I
the time.
feel it. And the Daft Punk is picking up too. That they're very like, yeah, with
Yeah.
Daft Punk. That's it. Somebody play that. That's another one. That's exactly it. Because we are feeling it coming. And Scott got a lot of great, he got a few tarot messages from a few people and celebration. He was getting celebration. We talked about it at the beginning of the weekend. Well, in Canada, Monday's Victoria Day. It's a holiday. This is called, we call it May 2-4, whether it lands on a 2-4 or not, because it's all about everybody taking a 2-4 beer up to the cottage. And finally, after all that winter, it's like summer started. So and it was a beautiful weekend. Fireworks literally going off every single night with this going on and with this energy. And and Scott saying celebrate, I said, yeah, it is a celebration. It's definitely a celebration here, and I can feel it in the air tonight.
Do you know that one as "Oh Lord" or "Hold On"?
Oh Lord.
Okay,
Oh
yeah,
Lord. That's yeah. Oh
I can't
Lord.
remember which way it is now. I always thought it was
I
"Oh
I
Lord,"
have
but
played when I'm like, well, I am old enough. Like I was listening to music as a teenager when that song was out, and I listened to it so many times. Well, I started taking drums because of that song.
Oh
But I
gosh,
literally
wouldn't you
did it.
just
How
love
many
you? Wait for
people,
it.
Eric?
Here it comes, and then
Yeah,
the
how
drums.
many people? Yeah, I had my own set of drums now because of that song. Okay, that and Platinum Blonde, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
I get excited.
Yeah. There's a whole
But
thing surrounding that. Yeah,
mhm.
where he like shined the spotlight on someone or something. That supposedly never happened. Now it's like what?
No, I know. It's like, yeah,
I don't know.
romantic stories. Yeah, like it's based on. It was probably written by a pseudo writer. It's just a studio. Yeah. So okay, I got a little more. Unless we
No,
stop for
let's
a
keep it
question or
drinking.
anything,
Well,
because there's more.
now people are just chiming in. They love the song, and someone, I think it was the birthday girl. She said, "Oh man, this chat is really rolling fast." Sorry, Jessica.
Oh, that means there's a lot of people here. I hope you
Yeah,
guys
there's
are
almost
liking this
200.
information.
We're almost at 200. If you guys
I
can let me
hope you
know, because
guys are liking this.
my number is usually wrong. It says 197,
Mhm.
but you
Make
guys
it
can let me
worth.
know.
Yeah, I want to make it worth all that aggravation of waiting for me to get on here.
But somebody said that song was in their head too. Jessica
Good.
was.
Yeah, I know. I've been wanting to let you guys, because I know you're hearing it, and I want you guys to know. Yes, we are all hearing it. And those synchronicities, all of those things, all of those connections. That web is just weaving tighter and tighter and tighter, babies. And it is happening. Somebody asked me a question. I want to switch over to my emails. I still send me the symptoms and this and that, but I want to start specifically responding to people's questions. I find a lot of people are asking me questions instead of answering each question individually. Well, I would like everybody to hear the answer. So from now on, guys, if you want to send me emails, let me know for everyone in the subject line. That is something that I can read online. I want to start answering questions for you guys, because we all need to hear how these things are getting tighter and tighter and seen, because we're all right on the money. And it really is. Somebody asked, is the event imminent? The event's here. Everything does not happen in one moment. These things are pieces of, this is such a huge thing that has been laid for such a long period of time. This is such a massive, massive energy and change that we are all experiencing. So you know what? I know it sucks and it's hard and everything sometimes, but it doesn't stay. It's always morphing. It's always changing. Each moment is a drop in the bucket, guys. This is a huge, huge bucket. This event, it's a big, big bucket.
I
Big.
agree. It's like this huge weekend event, and
Yeah.
even though it takes the whole weekend, and there's all these different bands playing and things like that. It's this big event that's made up of smaller events, and we're in the middle of
Mhm.
it. We're in
Don't
full
wait.
swing right now.
Yeah. Don't wait for the fireworks at the end of the show to enjoy the whole evening.
I agree totally.
And I do know it's hard, it's tough sometimes, but you know what? Don't be hard on yourself. When it's hard, don't be hard on yourself. Go rest, guys. That's what you're here to do. You're here to hold light. You're here to bring this energy in. You're here for a very, very, very important job. So give yourself
Take
some
part in it.
slack. Yeah,
Yeah.
give yourself some slack, and take this all back. Just take the time. The tools are out there. We're all here to help each other. So reach out. So you're not alone when you're feeling like that, and it will pass, and pass so much more quickly now. We're not stewing in this so much anymore. Things may flow in, but they're flowing out much more easily. Don't stop yourself from feeling something. Just feel it, and then let it flow, and that's okay, because it's not getting stuck with us as much as it is.
Yeah, you had mentioned that before. Like, the more you sort of try to resist it, the more you make it
Get
rough
to
on
the
yourself.
river. Water's
Just
so important right now. This month, water's
yeah,
really important. The visualization of water, or if you can walk along the water, anything like that, is so helpful to allow yourself to let this flow through you. And
really become
I
a
am.
vessel of this energy, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you don't have to be perfect to do it, and you can do it your own way. Okay.
Mhm.
I am seeing, I do want to just say, I'm seeing a lot more sort of definitive belief systems being presented from different people that put out information. And I absolutely respect that. And what I'm seeing is that we are all feeling the depth of our own truth much more clearly now.
Yeah.
We are really starting to tune into that, our truth, and it becomes so strong, the resonance of that truth, that it is the ultimate truth to us. It is, again, to us. It is completely valid for you. Your truth is true for you. But I would like to remind everyone that you do not need to be compelled to adjust your truth for somebody else's, because maybe you think they're wiser than you are, or they know more than you do. Any of those things. Nobody knows you but you. And all you have to do is just sit quiet and listen to you, and always go with that. So, and be wary, and I'm trying to do this as well, that when I speak my truth, and I do feel it so strongly, don't be confused with the strength of my truth as my expecting you to take on my truth.
Yeah, we're all on our own journey here. That's the
Yes.
beauty. We're just sharing
So let's
what we're
continue to
experiencing.
respect that. Yes.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
I can rejoice in somebody else distilling their values, distilling their lifestyle, distilling their diet, distilling how they choose to live their spiritual life every day. I applaud them for digging so deeply to get to the point where that truth is so strong within them. But I encourage everybody to remember that it is within you. Please do not expect it to be with anybody, or don't expect, again, that because they're doing it the wrong way. You do not know what their higher self planned out for their way of how they're reaching their goal. You
Right.
just don't. And trust me, their higher self knows more about their goals and how they're going about doing it, whether it seems wrong to you or not, than you do. Just
Yeah.
to let it go.
And just
Share.
understand that when
Yeah.
someone's on the journey and they're honoring God and the way they feel they should do it from their heart,
Mm-hmm.
I applaud that, whatever it
Yeah.
is. If they're out, loving people and, acting like a great person, living a great life or what they
Yeah.
feel is a great life, and they're not hurting others, let them walk their journey. Let them have their
Yeah. And
beliefs.
encourage others to find their own truth, because
Right.
no other truth matters. And I think that's why religion never could stick with me, because it was like, it wasn't as true, because it was them telling me their truth. I needed to find my own truth, because then what did it really mean? How true was it really to be able to follow as a model for my life if I'm just doing what somebody else told me is the way to do things?
Yeah.
Anyways, just to share that too. So anything I say, please always, I'm just sharing. And if it helps you, wonderful. I'm so glad. If I can help you in any way, I am so happy to do that. But don't let me ever hold you back.
And
So,
I think another great point is that if there is a benevolent force that loves you and is enjoying you seeking it out, I'll say it because I don't want to say a guy or girl or whatever, but
mm-hmm.
you're on your journey and you're seeking truth or whatever. And this is a benevolent force that is all powerful and all knowing. And most of the attributes people apply to God, right? For us to say it's only this way or this way is us putting limits on this force.
You're limiting yourself too.
Right. If this is a loving parent type
Mm-hmm.
figure, he'll meet you
Mm-hmm.
where you're at and he'll bring you, if you're in the wrong place, he'll bring you to the right place. So
Yeah.
it's not our job to do that. Just trust that the almighty creator, source, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
and whatever you're comfortable with, will find you. If you're seeking, you will find. And I really, if you're knocking, the door will
Mm-hmm.
be open to you.
And be willing to, if in order to expand,
Yeah.
which is as we always, there's no point if you're not always looking to expand, then what are you bothering? We are always looking to expand the God source energy that we are. So if you're putting boundaries and setting rules, well, then it won't allow for expansion. You'll eventually hit the borders of that rule, because
Yeah.
we go outside in perspective. So you will eventually limit yourself. I
And those are
think that we
imposed by men, not by
mm,
the
yeah,
source,
yeah, don't get me started.
Let's not limit the
Don't get me
source
started
God
on that one.
power. Okay, let's
Yeah,
just understand that,
yeah, actually, because we still have to talk about divine feminine coming in now too. So
And
maybe that'll
you
come.
didn't you have a dream as well?
I did have a crazy dream. I
Oh,
did. Okay. So I will just finish. So the this activation of this, what I believe is where this plateau now of Christ consciousness. What I have come to understand is that I'm right here. I can now feel within my energy, within my centered beam alignment of energy. I feel within that the presence of that Christ consciousness. So having the experience of, I think, the hypnosis and feeling his presence, that energy, that, yes, thank you, that resonance outside of myself, now with the activation did activate and activate that area. And I have very much the sensation and feeling of within that. And there may be a lot of religious people that do not like this. I'm sorry, but this is how I feel. I feel that energy within that beam, that it truly has always been there. It truly has always been along for the ride. It's been along in that experience all the time. And what this really is with this getting activated and having this Christ consciousness, sort of awareness come in, goes back to exactly a year ago when I began to wonder, what did it feel like to be Jesus walking down the road? What would it feel like inside to be that? What, and that's one of the, what would it feel like to be his robe, and in the Jesus shirt, and seeing how we were all the weave making this, and all these thoughts have led really to this point to understand. I have felt this presence come up, much like, okay, so with the Kundalini, I did this, and this is more from actually coming up from behind. I see sort of this presence coming up and filling in that my alignment, my energy space, and really feeling that presence now within me. Within, like, oh, sorry.
yeah, like I was saying earlier, just being the vessel for that Christ consciousness. And that's like the same thing that's going through all of us. That's what really unites us and brings us together.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to look forward to.
It's the opportunity to completely live without fear.
Yeah.
Completely. And we've been doing it for so long. Can you imagine? Sorry, guys.
And realizing who we
Never,
really
ever.
are.
And yeah, any moment, any moment, do you have to hold yourself back on what you are? So with this thought came to, and it was just yesterday, and Scott and I were talking about it, because what was beginning to emerge once this sensation had settled itself, I felt it come in on the 20th. And then I had the dream experience, which I will get back to. But then I was able to, the next morning, yesterday morning, go to the park with my guy and my dogs. And I sat in the grass and was able to bring this, feel this. I felt the click of it, that it's not going to leave me anymore. I felt like, we feel it and we get a glimpse of what that piece, that feeling that you just don't have to be that way anymore, that you can live in such strong authenticity, sovereignty, and presence constantly, but it eludes us. And I felt it connecting in a way that it really did merge and sit in, that I can feel it within me. So it doesn't have to go anywhere anymore, because it is a part of me and my energy, and sharing my experience with me. And so I was able to really secure that in the park with my meditation, sit in the sun, and it's beautiful, and it's a holiday, and it's everybody's celebrating, and really feel that sit in. And on my way back, the same path that I told you, where my hand was zapping with the tree, and I'm just buzzing. I was feeling just like I did back to the hypnosis session. You know, with that energy going through, that is just so crazy and so electric. And I'm walking, you know, by the trees, and I'm feeling the trees, and I'm feeling the vibration, and I'm feeling everything in me vibrate, and my hands going twitch, twitch, and all these crazy things. And it was just a beautiful experience. So I came back with the surety that that was secure now. The next thing that comes in the afternoon is feeling. So it's like once that was secure, then I almost go up to the next knot, the next thing that the energy stopping, because with that activation, what I was getting was my throat, the esophagus area up going to the throat start to open, which I thought was open, but not totally. And it felt like the smoky, vapory opening going up, and it was sort of a visual and a sensation. I could really feel sensations within my throat of this lighter energy going through and starting to open things. So what I have come back to now is back to the divine feminine. What I am feeling for me personally, intuitively, is that once this was situated and really in with the Christ consciousness, now right here, and which it's uniquely really is connected to the blockages, especially as women, that we have in the throat chakra, is where I'm feeling the divine feminine. Because I realized after coming back from the part, and carrying that energy was also very masculine energy. And you see, I have my flowy summer dress on today, and you know, I found that I was being very masculine. All of a sudden, I'm missing that feminine side of me too, that I do like so much, that flowy side, but that is still so strong. And so all this started to connect together, and as it clicks, I'm getting all the responses, and I'm feeling this area lighten up too. So what I'm feeling and getting to now is this now remerging. So now that that's planted, now back in, let's really bring in the divine feminine. I thought I had it, but it wasn't, because of so many boundaries that we have as women, especially for so long. And we have not been able to, and have been trained to not speak our truth for so long. So this is really, you know, congested and takes a lot to work through. So I believe that's where we're at now. So that's where I am up to this point here, and sort of collecting that information up to date. It's happening very rapidly for me. So
Yeah, and I think, like I was speaking with Dan on Talk is Cheap, how, it's not even that bad on our part of the planet. In our
yeah,
society, it's not nearly as bad as it used to be, or as bad as it is in other parts of the world, which are still horrible when it comes to, the way men and women are treated
yes,
unequally.
there, yeah,
We
yeah,
really, when I took art history and I started aligning a lot of different things
mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
it was like 100 years ago, women couldn't vote. And it was like mind blowing to me. It was like,
Think about that. Think
it's
about that.
crazy. That's not
You
that
couldn't
long
work,
ago.
or you couldn't. Your husband was allowed to beat you if he deemed that fit. Do you know, in the middle, and this is what appalled me when I really started to look about things. In the Middle Ages, your
Hmm.
husband could legally cut off your hand.
It's crazy. And that's still that way in parts of the world.
Terrifying. Do you know
You
that
know?
women experience that, and to think that we haven't collectively, and that's really what art history taught me a lot about too. And because what I saw was, and I had this exact conversation last night. Yes, I know. Sorry, crazy lady now. Um, is that the oldest pieces of work that have been done, the oldest statues that they can find, well, they're feminine, they're all feminine. The feminine was what was worshipped. They give birth to life. What is more divine than that? The love that they give so freely and openly, the healing abilities that they truly do have, all these things. uh, the men were privileged to protect them. That
Yeah.
was their honor, and their duty, and that was forgotten, because they became something to trade and something to barter, because that's how valuable and powerful, as creators, as God's, as source energy, and the potentials that we have, which is far beyond giving birth, ladies. That's how powerful we are. And
Yeah, it's like the nurturers and stuff too. I mean, that's so important.
everything.
you know?
Well, I think, typically women, and that's why witches, there typically are a lot more witches than there would be warlocks in stories,
Yeah.
and women have been more intuitive healers. Like, if you go back to Celtic, all the old stuff, the grabbing the herbs and they were the ones that passed on that information. That was their job. Helping other women give birth, taking care of the sick. It was not just the task of putting a cool cloth on somebody's forehead. No, they were healers in a spiritual sense as well. These were big jobs, creating life and care, healing and knowing what heals, and um, being therapists, being everything. And
And how much stronger are we,
you're
when we
just
work as a
physically
unit?
stronger. Women can take more pain than men. We can take way more emotional and physical pain than men do, and we do. Um, so I like this is not. I'm not saying any of this to diminish or beat up men in any way. And when looking at this situation, we are looking at the past,
Yeah.
the past, and how a situation was created by no fault of men that live today. It's just something that happened over a period of time. And a lot of the reasons for why those things happened, just like everything else, has been kept from us. Right. So yeah, I think it's now, this, we had to be comfortable bringing this plateau in. And I think it's now ready to release all resistance and really to the divine feminine for all of us, because even as women we are trained to resist it. Even as women we are trained to resist our feminine qualities sometimes, maybe in order to think you have to have all kinds of different things and reasons. So it's time to, even as women, accept that. I've realized as well that there are parts of my divine feminine that I have been withholding too, because we have to spend too much time being afraid, actually. And I think it's such a disparaging thing that it's not realized. There was a conference with Tim Robbins, the motivational speaker, if I got that right.
Yeah. Robbins.
Robbins,
Tony
right?
Robbins. Yeah.
And so he had a room of like 5,000 people, I think, in Australia, and he's working with a couple. So, and he's showing much of what we're talking about actually right now is the differences between men and women, and why they talk as much as they do and have to tell you so many details. Well, that was their job. They knew all these things. They had to pass it on. This is, you pick these berries, you do this, you do that. So why we think and do things differently. But what the really interesting thing he explained, and it was still shocking for me to see, is, so he asked all the women, okay, so ladies, all of you who put up your hands, who within the last week have felt that you need to be concerned for your physical safety. That is something that you have to, be aware of or worry about. Not like somebody's going to imminently stab you, but if you're walking, do you have to be consciously aware of being in an underground parking garage? Maybe you feel like you have to have mace or hold your keys a certain way, or be aware who's walking behind you. So how many women in the last week have felt like that? A lot of women put up their hands.
Even in their own home,
For sure. Even in
Yeah.
your own home, even when you're sleeping in your own bed at night. How many women have been raped in their own beds at night because somebody broke into the window? These things do happen. So how many women in the last month have had to worry about that? Majority of the women are putting up their hand at this point. So by the time 6 months, well, every woman has pretty much got their hand up at that point, unless she's a bodybuilder or something, right? But so then he did it with the men, and you see the men really starting to get when you're talking about a room of 5,000 people, it literally was, guys. You're talking about that many people, and because it was couples, you're talking about a very equal ratio of this men and women equation as well. So it was a fair test to put out there with the ratio that was in that 5,000 group. And he went through that same thing. Men, how many in the last week? What, out of 2,500 guys, like 3 guys put their hands up?
Right.
Right. Out of that. So this is not for a pity party. This is not for sympathy. This is not for how unfair it is. This is to understand the difference of what true freedom is, and freedom for us as women, and actually allowing to really be completely divinely feminine, to even to, and why we may even restrict that is because of this constant awareness that you must have for your own personal safety, almost like, well, every day you do.
Well, think of
And
how much further we would have expanded if we had more balance, balance between the men and the women's roles. And, if women had a seat at the table when it's time to discuss something, and, because women have great ideas, you know what I mean? But a lot of times they're just like,
intuitive ideas
or
often.
they'll tell their husband later, and then he'll get all the credit the next meeting. You know what I mean? Well, you probably should have done that. Oh, great idea, babe.
But
But
it's, yeah,
yeah.
women are such storytellers though, because they are actually the ones that originally were the ones that held the knowledge. Where do you think high priestesses came from? Because that's why they talk so much, because they would pass on information. The men were protecting and hunting. They had to, do these things, but the women were there working with these, what you could eat and how you ate it and how you healed and how you know, did those things. So a lot of these things make sense. So what real freedom for all of us, both men and women, really truly is no longer having fear be any element of your life. And the magnitude of this is even hard to imagine for us because of, and especially I think even for women, because of the amount of restrictions that men and women have been put on. Like if you take worry out of the equation ever, your life would be completely different. And yes, how much more would you create? How much more of your mind would be open to expansion when you're truly free? So that's when things will get really exciting.
Yeah, Randy's saying language was born in women, and I know with having 5 kids, 4 girls and a boy, it's like, the girls are always talking and stuff, and the boys are always with the sound effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're happy with just making grunts and stuff. A lot of times
Yes.
we're pretending.
Yeah, we know. Yeah. But
So
there's
the dream,
reasons for that. There's reasons for it, So
yeah,
if anybody
definitely.
can look up this Tim Robbins video, I'll see if I can find it and post it in the links, because there's a lot of really good information that he gives in that scenario of why they really are different, and going back from hunting, feeding, gathering, why, how those roles developed. And it's a really good perspective that I think would help a lot of us right now, both men and women, to see, oh, and be able
And
to
women have better
let more go.
fashion. I mean, in one of your previous lives, you made clothes and stuff. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think I made anything I could get my hands on.
Right.
Because what I you saw the clothing, but I saw like I would find like I would find things that glittered and sparkled, and I would want to make things with them, or I would want to carve things in wood. I get that in my head all the time.
Yeah. Just that
Anything
creative nature.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I am. Yeah. I have, and it's a constant thing now, just like the synchronicities.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot for today. We probably talked for a long time. I don't know if you
Did you
want me to
cover the
talk about the
dream?
dream. No, I did not.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
I was like,
can absolutely. But
yeah,
I
let's
just
do it.
want to know. I don't want to just keep on rolling, because
No, we're at like 58 minutes. I definitely want to hear the
Oh,
dream.
okay,
If
good.
it's
Because
crazy, it's
I lose
something I
track of
want to
time.
hear.
Yeah, I think I need a cigarette for this.
We can save it for next time if you want.
No, it's okay. No, it's let me just pull back in, because it's really big, guys.
Let's hear
And
it.
it's going to sound really crazy.
I love crazy dreams.
Yeah, okay. So this really was a lucid, very much lucid astral a dream for me. So there was definitely awareness that it was very much a now moment. I was very much in the time. There was an awareness that I could be either sleeping or awake. It didn't matter. It was still now. That was
Right.
weird. Never had that before. But are you still
Right.
there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, your video went off. So, okay, so I'm in a room, and it's in a building, and there's a window, and I can feel the energy. I'm feeling the energy, and again, it's the same thoughts that have been going on through the day of just, I'm really feeling things happen, and I'm looking at the window, expecting things to happen. So, and I start to see more to the air, which I am now. So I go to the window and I open the window, and it's sort of overlooking a huge city, somewhat modest. There's a road, there is traffic, and as I'm feeling the increase of this energy coming in, I'm thinking to myself, and it's very real. Again, remembering and realizing this didn't even matter. I'm thinking in my mind that it was a dream or not, that it was still real and it was still now. And the energy was such at a vibration that I was, here we go. You know, this is it. Like, I know it's it. I've been feeling it and knowing it all day and feeling this come in, and bringing back in the energy of that first event experience of feeling the event energy with the wave when I got the Archangel Michael telling me that was new technology to manifest instantly. It was like, oh, we've talked about it a few times. So I'm feeling it, but I had, because it's getting stronger. I am getting more practice. I do have a lot more I do feel the control over it. I have been training, I have been working, and I see the results of that now. So it is very intense, and it's building in intensity. But I'm constantly reaffirming, and what I've been practicing is, I know I'm here. I know what I'm doing. I know it's now. I know this is fantastic. God, I love you. I'm so grateful. This is amazing. Whoa, this is overwhelming. And it's just like, it's going in. So I'm seeing, as I'm bringing this in, wow, this is even getting, it makes me, so even just talking about it, I've told the story to Debbie yesterday. I hope you're there, Debbie, because she was fantastic in helping me process this and put it all in line. So I'm feeling this coming in. As I do, my vision begins to change, like it does, and I'm starting to see above the roadway, starting to see like a current of energy, and the more that I'm feeling the vibration increase in me, the more my ability to see these energies, these other things, is increasing, and it becomes an exponential thing. And the more I see of this current of energy, I'm seeing more light. Now I'm seeing that different energies are traveling through this. First, I'm seeing, smoky purple colors going through, like it's like its own spiritual highway. Not that it's directly following this road, but it's, somewhat above, and it's like a current of traveling energy, like you'd find in the ocean. They follow currents to travel, like in Finding Nemo with the turtles. That's what it was like. And so I'm seeing more now. I'm seeing orbs, and I'm seeing different orbs. And again, consistently through this is like, wow, I'm really feeling this energy. Then I felt a lock on. I felt a lock, and it was like there was a connection, I think, between maybe energy that was passing in this current, that I think I reached a resonance to match resonance, and then it was like a click and a lock on, and I felt that lock on, and still fully in control, because I was now allowing this experience, and accepting that was happening, because I was then like lifted like up, you know, out of the window, and starting to literally sort of ride that energy escalator up, and knew it was, as I'm going closer, and knew I was accelerating up to this energy, like this real energy. What you, like, if this was how I was experiencing the wave, like that accepting that energy, that it was time to fully be able to hold and accept that energy. And I knew this was now, in the now, and that's what I was doing.
So you're saying like your energy and the energy coming in like got integrated to the point of it locking together and sort of,
Yeah, I
and
think
then pulling
it
you
was
with
like a
it.
tune, because as I was tuning up, like as I'm taking in more, and I'm recognizing, and I'm allowing, and I'm affirming, and I'm doing what I've been practicing doing, because it is
Mhm.
very powerful, and it is, you can kind of go, oh, like you want to, that moment of doubt. Well, that moment is just a very fine sliver for me now, because of all the practice, and and allowing this to come in, and in my waking hours now, and this being increasing, especially since the hypnosis session. and which I think really laid the platform for this to be able to finally land on.
Mm,
That had to be activated in order for me
right.
to have a place to set this down on. I do believe for me that's what happened, and it gave me this sort of week to let bring it in more and more and more. Laid it down, but it was a lot, so it's like okay, and as my ability to let it in, accept it, know what it is, be in tune with it, feel it, and it allows it to connect, and it allows it to snap in place,
I
right?
got you. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I do feel that there was, this sort of, as my vibration increased, that there was an energy that connected, was, oh, she's ready, click, right? But it was a click from, I think, something going by, but it didn't connect me to them. That I connected just giantly to a much larger source, the source that was all around, but the direction I went up was, um, up from where I was, directly on an inclination, 45-degree angle, kind of
Ascending.
ascending on the escalator, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just buzzing. So what I believe at that time, I was in my light body. What I got afterwards and the messages and everything I'm receiving since then, I was in my Merkaba, right? And was able to be in that form. So I wasn't taken against my own will. There was an absolute agreement and acceptance and acknowledgement to, what was occurring and what was going on. And it was a very powerful experience. I knew what was happening. For anybody, it wasn't like a laser beam locked on me and picked me up and took me anywhere. Okay, this was a mutual, very, very, very mutual thing, and it was a mutual and fully encompassing energy within me and without me. That was a shared experience and was consensual.
Hmm. Now, in your dream, were you just alone, or were there other people
Yes.
experiencing it? Or it
At
was
that
just
point, I was alone. Yes.
okay. So it
There was
was
nobody else in the room. There was nobody else that I saw. There was no other person. I was looking over down a street. I think I did get the impression like that there was a road, that maybe there was cars going along, but there was certainly no gravitation to any person.
right.
Though I did feel like there could be, like, it was overlooking a town. It wasn't the exception that it was empty of people. I wasn't any around me. There was
Right.
none in the room with me. I was not focused on that. This was a very one-on-one experience with that energy. And as because I acknowledged in that moment completely that it was a now moment. I acknowledged exactly what was going on. I knew when I went to sleep that night that I was going to have this experience because
Mm,
of everything being so powerful the day before, because of how much I did really feel this, how much this physical energy is within me at this point. And I do feel it. I literally feel it. There's no denying that. I feel the vibration through everything. So, and with it's picking up through the whole day. I know I did put some binary beats on, um and because I knew that would help too. I knew what had to be done, and it happened. And I knew it was happening. And okay, so I'm being drawn up. Stage two. So this is where it gets interesting. So what I believe now. So I did see. So then before me, it was kind of like this sort of clouds parting experience, and I could see it would be. It was like an entrance. I believe it was a lightship. I believe it was an entrance to a lightship. There was a pattern on the door and there was colors on it. I have been trying to actually draw out these things that I saw that I'll now be telling you about. There was nothing in the first part that I needed to draw, but there was some very specific um, things that I did see, pictures I did see that I've been trying to draw out so I can show you guys. So there was a pattern to this doorway, and it was, very much like I was being pulled in. It was very graceful. The doors parted, and then brought into sort of like a receiving bay. And there, I know that I can't remember exact physical experience, but I know that there was a male and female there to sort of greet me or bring me in essence. And this sounds crazy to me, guys. Okay, too. So, but this is
mm,
just what happened. So, okay, so I do, remember that. And to me, it kind of felt like, when Scotty in Star Trek is like beaming people down. And there's him and there's that one other person beside him at that thing. Like that's kind of what it felt like to me. Like they were doing that.
Right.
So, and I know that they greeted me, and I know, and I can't remember a lot of specific things that were discussed, but there's a lot discussed. This is a very, very long dream. And so I know that they explained things to me of what was going on. I know that there was a series of tests they were going to do. Sort of, I think it was about checking in sort of where I'm at, you know, and doing different things to sort of see, I believe it was where I was at in the process of everything, you know. Oh, she's all like, you know, like I felt like they could be scanning different, see where they're at with their energy, what their energy pattern is, and totally benevolent, you know. And there was I worked with them before on other ships, like in other dreams. Like there was no surprise to this for me. I knew what they were doing, and it was led to another area. So, and the test, one of the tests that I think there was a couple other ones that were very insignificant that I didn't even need to bother remembering, but I was then led to, this was to see the ability to overcome fear. And so when I told you about the game, breaking the game, the dream I had about breaking the game board, and that I had to go in and do these 3 levels, and they were they were terrifying, and I knew that it was terrible, and I didn't want to do it. And having to overcome this sensation of fear. And when they tried to get me in, I broke out of the game, right? So after, it was like, you do these 3 levels and you're done. That's just what you do. And you're done. And then when they went after the 3rd level and I'm done, they tried to do it again. I was like, no. And I broke out of the game into a totally new reality. So with this in mind, I knew what they were going to be doing. And it felt like to me, it's like, you know, the old haunted houses where they put you in the cart and you'd go on the trolley and the doors would open and you'd go through the different, you know, around the corners and things would try to jump out, or you'd come into a room where there's a whole bunch of scary stuff that was set up or whatever. So it really felt just like that. And except I wasn't actually sitting in a ride. I think I was still in light body form. It was almost like I got boom, plugged in, sort of put in that ride, but I was not sitting in a ride. So I go in, like the doors open and I go in and I am not afraid. I know exactly what they're doing. I'm actually not very impressed. and so as things, like in the beginning, so it starts off, you know, small, like things would try to sort of come out, and it wouldn't even be able to come out. You wouldn't even be able to get that far. But as the ride sort of progresses, the tactics increase to see my response to fear. And so, but you know, I got to a point where I was like, no, we came into this one room and it was all set. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I don't need to do this. And I did that exact same thing where I literally went and pulled it in and blew out the energy and literally blew up the whole, like there was like illusions or other beings that like set up to mad science, like all kinds of crazy stuff. Any of those sort of people, they weren't really people. They were like illusions or images or whatever it was, programs, were blown away. Like just, you could see them blown away. And I actually I took myself right out of that entire environment, that room or whatever it was, and put myself right in their midst. It was like a room where they were, you know, they were all doing monitoring all these different things that were going on. You know, you had different people monitoring different tests and different people and different things. And you had, you know, a couple sort of, you know, superior, standing, monitoring everything. And boom, I blew myself right out of that, and I put myself right in their midst. And they were like, oh, like they were shocked. They're not scared. There was no, my intentions were not bad. Their intentions were not bad. It's nothing like that. But I was like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm sorry, done. Right. But there
It
was
was like they were surprised that you made it into the control room or something, though, right?
I got right out of it. I think the whole thing surprised them.
Right.
I got the
It's
sense
like you
that
get the peek behind the curtain in the Wizard of Oz sort of like you're put into this test, and then somehow you made it all dissolve, and you ended up in the room where they were testing you.
Well, that's it. Like I was only halfway through, and
Right.
I think that the idea even that I blew the whole thing away, like I blew up the thing, that did not happen. It was more about seeing seeing my response and how I was able to
Yep. Hold on, it cut out. You said to
right?
see your response and to see how, and then
Oh,
it cut out.
you respond or react to the fear because
Mm-hmm.
they have to know that we won't panic when the energy comes in, that we know how to maintain our composure, to know that these are illusions, to know that we can control these reactions, and that may be because of the manifesting instantly or whatever. They have to know that we will be able to take this in, I think, without panicking and going to fear.
Right.
So I felt like it was that, but I don't think it was expected that I literally like blow everything up. Like everything just went white. I saw everything sort of blow, and then everything just went white. And then I was like standing right beside them, and they were like, "What? Like, what just happened?" And they weren't upset or anything, but they were stunned. And I got the sense that you do complete, like you're supposed to complete the whole thing, and they test the responses through the whole thing, but you don't just jump out of it halfway and blow up the whole game and say no. So they didn't quite know what to do. So there was this room, and then and so in front of that room there was like a big wall of windows looking into a much more expansive room, which would be like an observation. There
Mm-hmm.
was two other entities there, and it was kind of like a waiting room. Maybe I think that they had to wait for other people who know what to do with
Mm-hmm.
us. I got you have different levels of taking in information, but they're benevolent scientists, whatever, very loving, but they're benevolent scientists, and there's different levels of expertise, right? There's different people deal with different things, or higher levels, or this level, or whatever it is. So it was like a waiting room. I got the impression like they were waiting to go, like they had to go get somebody else to talk to me. And they also there was two scans that they were done in this room. And so as you're in this large room, it's almost like actually would be like a theater, because it seems to go down like this, and there's a much larger wall like you would have in a cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And they did have like a screened picture would pop up when they did two separate scans. There was nothing invasive about this at all, guys. It was just like an x-ray would. You don't even notice. They just take a picture kind of thing, and they put it up on the wall so you can see. And they did the two different structures that they showed, and that's what I am working specifically to draw. So the two others, so they scanned theirs and they popped theirs up, and they scanned the next one and they popped it up. And how I would explain it is, if you took a silver dollar and you had a bunch of different cylinders on it of light and color, but there was lines and grids in there too, and it was going off both ends. It sort of looked like that, like maybe like a conduit kind of, like some kind. But what I got from it was the level. There was something to do with experiences, or kind of like your Akashic records. There's all these bits of information from here or there, and all these bits of different information were kind of represented by what was placed on that silver dollar form. I
Mm-hmm.
hope this makes sense. It was a very specific picture, so I'm really trying to draw it out. So they showed that one, they showed the other person's, and then they showed mine, and because and everybody was really surprised, because the structures of each end of mine were like probably about 3 to 4 times larger than the other two. So the other two that I was with didn't know what to say to me, and it was like there was a little bit of like, huh, like they didn't know what to say to me anymore. So I kind of felt like they kind of went off to their own corner, right? And then they did this other scan too, and it showed another different form that I'm going to try to draw. But and the details again on theirs was where there was like some marks, some lines, some lights, sort of these different spots or graphs filled in. mine was an actual structure to it, and actual tubes and colors and things going on, where again, what was said was that that they had, again, to get somebody else, because nobody that was there at that present time had seen that before, so they didn't know what to do with me, so they were getting somebody else. From that point on, I don't remember. That's all it. That's
So
it.
it was like something to be decoded or something?
It
Like
was
a
it
some kind
was
of
it was
3D thumbstick or something?
it was like some kind of map. Like it was like some, if you were to take an X-ray of somebody's skeleton to look at their bone structure, it was like that kind of thing. Like they were taking, maybe it was taking picture of a Merkaba. I don't know, but it was something like looking at a picture, like of, yeah, like if you took a scan, they take scans of your brain and they show you what's going on, or
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. But I don't know specifically what it was, and that's why I do want to draw it, and I do want to explain to you guys. So if anybody else has seen anything like it, because I never have, and if it means anything to anybody else, well, I want you guys to know, and I would like
Compare
to know.
notes. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's all. Because I don't know what it is, and I'm just telling you actually, really, as much as I can, exactly what
So
that
we got to revisit
experience
this
was.
once you draw it, then I guess.
Yes.
So where did it go
Yes.
from here? Was that the
That's
end,
all
or
I
did you?
remember.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know
Yeah,
if
I
it
think
went
they
to a
got the big
different
guy.
stage.
I think that's kind of what I'm feeling at that point. I think I went up to somewhere, like I went somewhere else. Like there was somewhere else. And
Right.
then maybe that's not something that I need to remember right now, because then I think a lot of what would have come out was a lot of information that I'm probably not ready to see or whatever yet. And I would think that would be the reason for that. So
Right. Totally.
I'm okay with it. And everything that has happened since has just been such a confirmation. And I want to share this with you guys because it's real.
Yeah.
It is real. And don't worry about timing. Just know that it's real, because the more that you know it's real, and the more you can pull that feeling inside of you in your own energy, the more real it will be, and the more you'll see how real it is. And all of these manifestations, these things that we are seeing, from your stupid Yanny Laurel to your Mandela effects,
Yeah.
to the songs that we hear in our head, to the numbers that we are seeing. Why? Because we are in tune, guys, because we are in vibration. We're experiencing these things together, and we will continue to do so. Nobody will be left behind. So don't worry. Nobody will be left behind. You're here for a reason, and we're all here to support each other doing this. So, on that note, with everything that's happened, I am going to be opening myself up to doing not just one-on-one in-person counseling sessions anymore with my tarot. I'm going to be opening myself up to now doing this online. I have searched for and got much of the confirmation now that I was truly looking for. I thought it would maybe take longer than it has, but it has not. And I feel very confident in being able to do that. And I feel very strongly that this is now my time to do that. And that's what I've been told. So
Exciting. Sounds
yes,
fun.
so I'm opening myself up to do sessions. So it will be, whether it's Skype or whatever format will work for you, that we can do a video conferencing call, where maybe I can help you find some answers to some direct questions that you may have. And do a tarot reading. If you don't want a tarot reading, we can do something else, because I got a lot of things I can do. So, but the tarot reading is great if that's a format that you're comfortable with, or if you're just looking for simple, even counseling with this. I'm really ready to do that, and it's time for me to do that. I'm going to make it. I really want to make it a very nominal charge that will allow me to start eking away from the other job even at all. I'm getting a lot of signals that that's not even the right vibration. It's good. I go in, I plant a lot of seeds I see with people, the customers that I treat, in making that one-on-one contact,
Mhm.
in touching them lovingly, and look in their eyes and let every single one of them
Get a little taste of the love.
just for half an hour,
Yeah.
to
That's
let them know
important.
that somebody cares. Somebody can look at them and hear them and care.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing how some people don't even get that for weeks or years on end.
yeah, and I see that,
Yeah.
and especially older people. It just takes a minute.
Yeah. And you know what? It's amazing because you see people daily, and you understand how people don't understand the energy transfer, and they might just be judging someone walking into the gas station and just thinking bad thoughts about them, not realizing there's an energy transfer going on right there. That judgmental thing that people are doing towards someone else because of how they look or whatever it is sending those negative vibrations at that person. Like, dude, just look at someone with love. You know what I mean? Don't
What I
send that
just
negative,
realized?
and that piles on that person. You know what I mean?
You know what I realized? Remember how I joked before on my channel, I think I said that. I think they pay babies to cry at the checkout in Walmart.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay the babies. It's the energy, guys. It's all those thoughts. It's all that judgment. It's all that negativity. God, our poor children. And yeah, that's what it is. They don't have to pay them.
Thank God the love is stronger, because a few people in line there can just bring that teller back to just at least a level playing field, because all these when the line gets longer and you need to open up some more lines. We were in the Walmart the other day, and my daughter said that, it's like, why would he say that? It's like, they got all the people they got here and they're closing, of course the lines are going to be long, and you get that energy going, and then the people, and they see it, they're awake, and
it's okay.
Like, some people don't see it.
Yeah.
So real quick before we go, can you give your email address for those who want to get a hold of you?
I'm not going to do a group meditation today. This is a big chat, and it was a lot to get out for today. It's a lot of energy. So, but I will soon. I'm making a commitment to try to start doing a video every day, because you inspire me, Shane. Even if it's 5 minutes, I'm realizing I'm waiting too long to do my videos. I need to be just on there every day, even just for a moment, to tell you guys I'm here. So my email is wolfe.art101@gmail.com. I'm also going to start selling my some of my artwork. I've been led to feel that I could do intuitive drawings that will help activate. So I'm going to start working on that. Some simple things. Again, not. I'm going to keep it. I want to keep it really affordable. Keep it really, simple, and try to get as much love and creativity and energy out there as I can. So,
it's
so email me
art101 at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. And yeah, let's, any dream comments, any synchronicities with any of this, please let me know. If it's something I can share on my channel, your questions or your story, please let me know. I need to start getting more specific with you guys, especially with the questions. I want to answer everybody. If it's a personal thing, then help me out. Let's do a consultation together, because I can do a lot more that way, and I can help you a lot more, and we'll both help each other. So,
and I might have to fly solo if I'm traveling next week. So just so you all know, if but yeah, seriously, if for some reason we're not here next week, she will be broadcasting live on her own channel next week with her update. Because we thought we might have to do that today. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time. If it's next Tuesday, she'll be on her channel. So make sure you subscribe. I do have her link below. And thank you so much for joining. I love you so much, Michelle.
I love you guys. I love you so much. I love you so much. I missed you through the week, and I always would love to share it with you. It's just great to always see your face.
You're sweet.
And I'll be going back and I'll be reading the chats. So if you guys have anything else just to throw in the end, I'll later today, I will get a chance to go and I'll read through the chat and see. But leave a comment, send me an email. Love you.
Lots of love and light to all of you guys in the chat, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.